तिलक लगा के मिट्टी का तू बाजी आज लगा ले, ओ तिलक लगा के मिट्टी का तू बाजी आज लगा ले, तुझ में जो चिंगारी है उस शोला आज बना ले, जान लगा के खेल खिलाड़ी, ओ जान लगा के खेल खिलाड़ी, साथ हमेशा स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, शान बढ़ा तू रहे अगाड़ी, जीत की भाषा स्पोर्ट्स इंडी।
Hello, and a very, very warm welcome to yet another episode of the World of Sports on the Sportsindi channel. The program is produced by Miti Group, borrowing on the idea presented by Supriya Badve, who's the CEO of Sportsindi. Well, friends, 8th of March is worldwide celebrated as an International Women's Day. Well, that makes this month of March, I must say, very, very special because we women are very special indeed. In the world of sports, we bring to you women sports coaches and trainers who are very well accomplished themselves. We begin the series with a sport that has style, grace, rhythm, and flow, and largely has only women performances. But we'll talk about that a little later. It is rhythmic gymnastics. We have had a peek into that sport earlier, but this time, once again, from the horse's mouth, that is, from the coach herself. Before I call upon today's guest, let me first welcome an equally accomplished woman. We have with us Supriya Badve, the founder and CEO of Sportsindi and the executive director of Badve Group. Supriya ji, welcome. And well, as she joins in a moment, just in a moment, I must also bring to your notice one thing. You all must have noticed that our program theme montage, well, we begin the program, has been a little different this time, isn't it? It is a dedication to all the women sporting personalities who have been with us on our shows at various times. Well, this was basically Supriya ji's idea, and once she joins us, I would like to. There she is, Supriya ji.
Yeah.
We've just been talking about how the theme, how the montage has been a little different this time for the month of March, and how we have kind of showcased the work of so many of our women sports personalities. And basically, this is something that you thought should be very, very relevant, which I agree to. Do you have to say anything about that?
Yeah, so very good evening, Priya. And we all know, this is Women's Day month. March is 8th March is International Women's Day, and that's where we at Sports Indie, along with BT Group, has decided uh, to talk about contribution of women in sports. And so really, I'm really happy that this month we will cover all women in sports, and then we will like to learn from them their success stories in sports arena. Thank you so much.
Of course. That is why. On this note, let me call upon today's guest. We have with us Sonali Sawant, a rhythmic gymnastics coach. Sonali, welcome on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
And a little more about Sonali Sawant. She has completed her graduation in life sciences and has completed diploma in nutrition for fitness. And at the same time, she has also successfully completed the American College of Sports Medicine's workshops on Pilates and speed and agility training and so on and so forth. We are going to ask her a few questions about that as well. She is a senior rhythmic gymnastics coach at the BPCA's Rhythmic Club in Mumbai and has been conducting rhythmic gymnastics training at Prakash Mohadikar Sports Training Center in Shivaji Park for the last few years, that is around 4 years. She is a and founder member of Mumbai City Gymnastic Association. Sonali's achievements are quite a few. She has participated as coach come judge at the first Indian RG Club, which was held in Hyderabad in 2018, and has also participated as coach of BPCA's Rhythmic Club at 15 Singapore Open Championships in 2018, and was a judge at the 19th Commonwealth Games in Delhi, which were held in 2010. Has also been appointed as the manager come coach of Mumbai University's Rhythmic and Artistic Gymnastics team for the last 2 years or so, and the manager come coach of Maharashtra University of Health Sciences Rhythmic and Artistic Gymnastics team for 2 consecutive years. So once again, welcome Sonali, and I would request Supriya ji to formally welcome Sonali on the show now. I think we have lost a bit of yes, Supriya ji. Well, I guess it's some time.
Yeah. So, sorry, it was something.
Yeah.
On behalf of Sports Cindy, I want to welcome Sonali ji on this platform of World of Sports, and we are really looking to learn from you what is your contribution in rhythmic gymnastics and sports medicine, and really everyone is very eager to hear from you and wish you a very happy Women's International Day because we know 8th March is Women's Day, and in this month we are just focusing on contribution of sports, contribution of women in sports. So once again, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Supriya ma'am and Priyamvada yourself.
Well,
I'm
it's a pleasure to have you here, Sonali. Uh,
The pleasure
how
is
is
also shared by me.
well, tell us something about what is so special about the RGs, the rhythmic gymnastics. How is it different from any other gymnastic style?
The first special thing about RG is that amongst, yes, gymnastics itself is a mother of all sports, but
Hmm.
RG relates more to it from the other disciplines. It
Okay.
actually, the reason behind this is also because it's not only a sport, it is also considered as an art, a
Hmm.
sport which is expressed as an art form. So it's a combination really. And
Hmm.
it also happens to be one of the rare sports in the world, Olympic Games, that wherein only women participate. There are only three such sports, if I'm not mistaken. It's softball, artistic swimming, and rhythmic. That's it. They are the only three
Okay.
which only women are allowed to participate in the Olympics.
Hmm.
So this
Hmm.
itself makes it stand apart from all the other games, various other games played at the Olympics. And then,
Okay.
of course, it is a contactless sport, which is also a rarity. And that is the reason where this special status comes into the rhythmic gymnastics game.
So, what do you mean by contactless sport?
Because you are not actually, it's like, say, if you're playing say judo, or you're playing wrestling. These are all contact sports. So this is one
Okay.
of the
Got
rare contactless sports. Which, why this has come into the picture, the word contactless, is
it.
because especially during the COVID times, we were one of the few games where we could continue to quite some time the offline practice sessions, because we have this contactless teaching and practice sessions, where in
Yeah.
COVID times it was a big worry.
True, true.
So
And I think
that's
it
why I
proved
mentioned
quite
it
relevant.
specifically today.
Yeah. I don't think we would have really pondered over this, thought had you not mentioned it so well.
It,
But
it
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
actually, even for us, the awareness came in when COVID regulations set in. Then we
correct,
realized we
correct.
are one of those few, and also our sports girls use their own apparatus. We don't
Okay.
even need to use something that is already established, placed somewhere, which then needs to be sanitized or something like that. They bring their
Mhm.
own, they use their own, and they take it back home. So it's
Yeah, that
basically
is.
a almost altogether contactless sport.
Absolutely. That's a really thought. I mean, great, thought which has come forth because all the time that we were talking about the lockdown and the pandemics and the worries and the
Yes.
stresses and the loneliness, and here is a sport which could just allow you to, explore yourself and explore the sport itself. And at the same time, as you said, it's an art form, it's
Yes.
aesthetics, it's beauty, it's style, it's grace. What is it not all about? So I completely understand that. But tell me something, how has it developed over the years? And I also want to ask you, why is it seen fit for women?
Okay. Um, History is like, in short, it was they were the Egyptians which really started using this for actually
Okay.
entertainment, and
Hmm.
then gradually taken up by more of the Russian countries, those who were in the Soviet Union, and who were already participating with ballet, practicing ballet.
Correct.
So somewhere down the line, from the ancient Egyptian efforts, the old ballet masteros picked it up and transformed it into a sport.
Okay.
That's when, yeah, it got introduced as a part of the artistic gymnastics which used to take place
Hmm.
for men only. Then that, when that got introduced with women, rhythmic became a part. It was not even called rhythmic at that time point of time. It was just
Okay.
similar to that particular rhythmic we see today.
Hmm.
And then later on, the German were very good with handling apparatus activities. They
Hmm.
start That was picked up and introduced as apparatus handling with rhythmic activity, and then we have the rhythmic gymnastics we see today.
Okay, but so tell me, I mean, as I said, this is something which looks beautiful. As
Yes.
you see someone perform it, the person who's competing tries to make it even more beautiful because they're competing at the end of the day with someone. But what are the challenges in learning rhythmic gymnastics and at the same time performing rhythmic gymnastics?
Learning. No, wait, you asked me something about why fit for women also. Let me just answer
Yes.
that. That's a question very close to my heart. uh,
Okay.
today's life for women is
Hmm.
quite tough, because
Hmm.
women have stepped into almost every field and every aspect and every walk of life. They are
Hmm.
shoulder to shoulder with men. So they
Hmm.
are beings as young kids. The parents are not really stopping them from going and doing and pursuing anything that happens to be available in their vicinity.
Okay.
This game helps today's working parents to very safely allow their young daughters to pursue it. One,
Hmm.
because it gives them everything that is required that the parent would otherwise have to put an effort to do. I will
Okay.
come to that when you talk about challenges, but
Okay.
just to say that it is a fact. And
Hmm.
also, since it's a all women oriented game, the coaches are
Okay.
women, the participants are women. It's performed and practiced in the safe vicinity of where there are no other intruders, as I would call it. So
Hmm.
the whole safety background allows parents to send their daughters free of mind. That is
Hmm.
why it is mainly fit for women. Secondly,
Hmm.
it is, as you have been repeatedly saying, grace. The first thing that
Hmm.
comes into mind when you hear about rhythmic gymnastics is grace. Which woman wouldn't want that to be part and parcel of their personality?
I completely agree.
So not only grace along with a slim, lean, trim bodies, which is so stylized that you can
Hmm.
recognize a rhythmic gymnast anywhere walking down the road. Absolutely,
Okay.
if you have a group of girls walking towards you,
Mhm.
a layman can easily identify a rhythmic gymnast.
Okay.
So that's
Well,
what women want. All women
I
want
know.
that in their lives.
I know.
And
I know.
they can use it in every walk of life once they retire or once they've given it up. This particular inbred, which is worked on through their childhood and through their competitive years or through the practice sessions they've gone through, it gets in bed in them, and then it just reflects wherever they are.
Correct. Correct. So beauty, style, grace, leanness,
Yes,
slimness, fitness,
without making a
everything.
special effort, without making any other special effort. So you just have to
Correct.
practice rhythmic gymnastics, and you get all of these things in one bowl.
Fantastic. This is quite inspirational, I must say, at the moment.
Yes, yes.
Also, tell us, we were going to talk about the challenges of learning as well as performing.
Yeah,
So, what would you have?
learning the motto of rhythmic gymnastics is no pain, no gain.
Mm-hmm.
That
Okay.
is that has to be accepted first. It is
Hmm.
not everything comes and is enjoyable at the end of the day, but there is nothing that involves no pain, no gain. So, like, you have splitting, you have backbending. Yes, if you're not naturally so, it is painful. But at the same time, it is required, not just because of maybe you want to become a rhythmic gymnast, but because a flexible body, a group of muscles which are well stretched and elongated, eventually help you in your later on progress of life, keeps you healthy. Your old age is much better. I have seen rhythmic gymnastics first maybe around 25 years back in India, and today I'm seeing those gymnasts of that time who were young girls and who have now retired, maybe married or having kids. I'm pretty much sure they're having healthier lifestyles than their counterparts who didn't do rhythmic gymnastics.
Right.
So then it comes in the challenge. What is the challenge? Like I said, no pain, no pain, no gain. The challenge is gymnastics, rhythmic gymnastics, not just one thing. It's like not just kicking the ball or hitting the shuttle or hitting the ball, racket with something else, but it is gymnastics, calisthenics, dance, and apparatus handling. All these aspects together will give you a performance of rhythmic gymnastics. Therefore, it is definitely challenging because every aspect, the gymnastic aspect, the calisthenics, the dance, the apparatus handling, every aspect has to be perfected. That is the challenge. Now, what do you do to perfect these aspects? There are multiple attributes a rhythmic gymnast has to go through to perfect before they can call themselves a rhythmic gymnast and before they can reap the benefits of being a rhythmic gymnast. Now you have cardiovascular endurance, then you have strength, then you have a good sense of balance. You need a flexible body, agility, and quick reflexes. These are not always natural, they have to be developed. So we do target all of this at an early age, which is when you actually think of maybe either competing or using it in any other aspect, you actually are good at it. Nobody is born with all this. Nobody is born with the required strength. Very few are born with the required flexibility. Another aspect is good hand, eye, and body coordination. All rhythmic gymnasts need to be something that is called ambidextrous, using hands equally. That needs to be again trained. You cannot say I'm a left-handed rhythmic gymnast or a right-handed rhythmic gymnast. You have to train them as a coach to be both. And the rules require that. When they perform a routine, that has to be reflected in it. So that's a challenge. It's a challenge for a right-handed person to learn to appreciate that the left hand has to do something equally good. And similarly, vice versa for the left-handed person. Another aspect is, okay, all these physical attributes taken care of. And then comes in, what about the music part? Everything is performed on music. So you have to develop your sense of musicality. That again is a challenge. Not again, everybody is born with it. You need to start learning to appreciate it. That also is to be trained, wherein the rhythmic gymnast knows the beats, the curves, the ups and downs, and knows how to perform on and along those beats of music given by the coach. So this is really a challenge. And everywhere, every time the beat is off, even a layman can make out. Even if you're sitting in the audience of a competition, even you can make out, because you may be a person who loves music. You understand. And even a layman can understand, oh, she missed the beat. Because eventually it is something which incorporates also dance. And dance is a very familiar thing for everybody. But when you incorporate it here, then it becomes a challenge for the rhythmic gymnast to start understanding, improve their sense of musicality. And for that, they need to appreciate different kinds of music. Not only one. If you're an Indian rhythmic gymnast, you can't stick to only your Indian forms. you need to be aware of all the forms of music which are available to hear world over. And
Hmm.
then not only music, also all the forms of dances that are performed. The latest
Okay.
from hip-hop to folklores to maybe even Bharatnatyam, Kathak. We can incorporate absolutely anything to make your individual routine stand out on the mat. That
True. I think.
is
Yeah.
the big challenge. So I think the list goes endless, but this much is enough.
No, but I mean, I'm really, as I said, quite impressed and inspired at the same time to think about this, because this is agility of brain as well as
Yes,
body. As
yes,
one can say, it's a balance with the brain and body again, because
yes,
your thought processes cannot interfere with how you're performing. And at the same time, as I said, a balance with dance and music and your overall performance as well. So it's not just a
yes.
dance performance, it's not just a musical
No,
performance, it's not just a sport performance, it's all together.
yes, very correct.
Yeah, and that's something which is, as I said, it's marvelous. I mean, to think about it. Supriya ji, on this note, let me call you in, because we will be running this series on the occasion of the International Women's Day, which is on 8th of March, and then this whole month we are going to, invite people. As today we have Sonali with us and women coaches. What are your comments on women and their participation in sports? Very general. I know you can talk for hours on this, but if you can give me some points today.
Yeah, so just what I can just say is like sports has a real power to change the lives, and the ability to drive gender equality by teaching women and girls teamwork, then self-reliance, resilience, and confidence. So maybe women in sports defy gender stereotypes, and they have excel in many areas. So like even in Olympics, we have seen a lot of contribution of women. They brought medals for our country. So I feel like as on means in world of sports also we have seen lot many women who have performed extremely well in their areas. To name a few of them, as like today we have Sonali ji, then we had Namita Nanal, then Aditi Deshpande, who then Kshipra Joshi. She was also in rhythmic gymnastic. Varsha Upadhyay, Anjali Bhagwat. She has inaugurated our session, and then Akshada Shete, Bhagyashree Tipse. She was in. She was here, and she has contributed in chase. So we have lot many women celebrities, women sports personalities who has been to our platform of World of Sports, and they have shared their very well successful stories and their challenges, uh, and really how they have contributed, how they have carved their journey, and make them feel good for their family and of course for the country. So and one statement I just Sonali ji mentioned just a few minutes back. I love that statement that sports is a lifestyle, and really means like women as such they are always think for balancing everything. So maybe a few inherent qualities are there which is gifted by God to all of us of balancing, and like we we have more aesthetic sense than men. So we like to have like we want to be a very lean always. We want to be remain in style. We are more like a beauty. We are more tendering about beauty and everything. So that my I think see this rhythmic just gymnastic what she explained that it is giving more a sense of beautiness that to all of us. So I feel really this means like in totality I can say women are like not only contributing but they are achieving something for their own life also, by gaining fitness, by gaining flexibility. So like sports brings everything to women, and equally it's a vice versa. Sports has given something to women, and women has given something to sports. So
Definitely.
Yes,
Definitely.
very true, very well said.
Yeah. But and I also feel that it is quite a conscious and I would say a decision for women, because otherwise, more or less, I think every sheher, gali, mohalla, it is very easy for boys and men to be out and playing games, whatever they play. Yeah, whether they play a cricket or a football or whatever. But after a certain age, the girls just vanish from those grounds. Otherwise, so the casual playing which happens and which should happen easily outside somehow is not there. So getting for women to get into sports is a very very conscious decision, and at the same time, as I said, the training and the skill is something that they make a choice for that, and that's something I think which should be encouraged a lot. Today we have with us Sonali Sawant, who's a coach in the rhythmic gymnastics. And Sonali, you have been a judge and you have
Yes.
been a coach. So what are your expectations as a judge, and what are your inputs as a coach?
Okay. As a judge, I would like to say something about what is the requirements at a rhythmic gymnastic competition. You must have heard of, say, Nadia Comaneci getting the score of perfect 10. So
Correct.
basically, gymnastics is all about the perfect 10. It's not 10 today anymore, but every gymnast dream is that what Nadia got, the perfect 10. And
Okay.
this dream has not only just come from the mind of the gymnasts or the coaches, it is the technical committee, international technical committee, whose set of rules demand perfection from the gymnast who participates. Now, if this perfection is required, then every imperfection is got deducted points.
True.
So as a judge, if any rhythmic gymnast is approaching me and asking me what, as a point of view, would you advise me, it is to do whatever you have managed to perfect with your obtained number of practice hours. Don't try to include things which you are not good at, because the scoring is very weird in rhythmic gymnastics or even in gymnastics. You are
Okay.
given very few points, but when you are deducted, it becomes much more. So it like kind of, what you call as negative marking, it sort of becomes that. So you may be doing a particular skill which has just point 0.5 as a value, but if you don't do it with perfection, you may lose out as much as 0.8. So you have got
Okay.
minus point 0.3. And then if you get such minuses, you are not going to be anywhere on a good level. So,
True.
as a judge,
True.
I am always striving to look for perfection, and that is what my rules from my international body teach me. They are teaching us judges, to be looking out for that.
Okay.
And that is how we are trained, and that is how the rule book goes, which we need to follow when we are judging. But on the same side, when I'm coaching, what are my expectations as a coach? As a coach, yes, I am going to try to satisfy the judge who is eventually going to judge my gymnasts competition. So I am again going to tell my gymnast, go achieve perfection, and that's when we will include this particular skill which you are training for. But there are certain times when a gymnast is maybe not that perfect, but needs to try out those skills on the mat to gain confidence about a certain skill. So at that point of time, I'm also looking for a balance of getting the marks as well as getting the confidence, and hoping and crossing my fingers that there's a balance.
Correct.
As a coach, I am looking out for a balance, but as a judge, I'm only looking for perfection.
Perfect. True. But you tell me, I mean, you have also, we're talking about rhythmic gymnastics, and as you
Yes,
already said, it requires a lot. It contributes also to a lot. So
yes,
you
yes.
have yourself gained training in nutrition and medicine, even the
Yes.
Pilates and the knee rehab.
Let me correct you. It's not nutrition and medicine. It's only nutrition for sports.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So now can you tell us how this contributes to your field? This
Nutrition
entire.
plays a mind-blowing game over here.
Mm-hmm.
In rhythmic gymnastics, nutrition plays, it's kind of one of the building blocks.
Mm-hmm.
To when you're preparing a gymnast, a coach has to be you put those basic blocks under the pyramid. One main block is nutrition. One reason why I got into this nutrition thing is, I saw internationally that the gymnasts were very, very lean and looking very unhealthy sometimes. Sometimes.
Okay.
And then I heard some of these gymnasts would come back, judges who would go, or they would attend some international events and come back. The feedback would be that they are eating practically nothing. They just maybe eat an apple for a meal. The international gymnasts I'm talking about. That
Okay.
got me thinking. I said, I can't make my gymnast eat only an apple or a tomato or some kind of a maybe a smoothie for a whole meal. So all they were doing is fruits, veggies, and protein. Carbohydrates were minuscule amounts.
Okay.
That triggered me into thinking there is something not so correct. My mind was completely at unrest, and that is why I said I have to get the knowledge to understand better and to be able to coach the nutrition part in a better way. And yes, every bit of that course has guided me even today. It is not necessary that any international diet has to be followed for an Indian rhythmic gymnast. Our
Okay.
Indian diet can be manipulated to fit into the lean, required, slim, stylish bodies of our gymnasts.
Okay.
So there doesn't have to mean, oh, they are having only smoothies and fruit juices and
Sorry.
veggies. We don't have to do that. We have our good Indian diet, which helps us equally well.
Hmm.
And I've seen gymnasts, I have been advising gymnasts with my nutrition tips. The parents come back saying, yes, they are pretty much happy. Earlier it was don't eat, don't eat, don't eat. Yes, don't eat sweets, don't indulge your sweet tooth and fried stuff. But otherwise, pretty much our gymnasts are much happier and they do achieve equally good results. Mm, anyway, that's about nutrition part. You can.
Okay.
I have more things to say, but maybe in a different question when you ask me.
Okay, but also tell me, I mean, you have been engaged into this sport for a while and you have been coaching, you have been judging. I want to ask you a question, which is like a personal one, which
Yeah,
is related to the sports, but it's more about you. What are
yeah.
your personal gains? Personal, professional, physical, social gains, through this entire
Oh my
journey?
God, I cannot imagine life without rhythmic in part of it.
I'm
And
sure.
people who know me, like all these Shipra, Akshata, Varsha, we are all in the same field, so we know each other. They know I can't be doing and thinking anything else other than gymnastics, rhythmic
Mm-hmm.
especially now. I started
Mm-hmm.
off with artistic gymnastics, but
Okay.
finally, sometime down the line, I shifted to rhythmic. Eventually, at that point of time, I actually was a complete diehard fan of artistic gymnastics. In India,
Okay.
I had not yet seen anything called rhythmic. But when I first attended a national level competition and I got the chance to do some judging over there, that's when I actually learned to understand, okay, this game is an equally tough fight. And this is also a good chance for girls, especially because, like I said, it involves all women power.
Right.
So, in today's date, like you just said some time back, soon you see young adolescent girls disappearing from the scene of sport. But where rhythmic is concerned, there needn't be any kind of such disappearance. They can continue practicing it till also they finish their colleges, till they get maybe they are, got jobs of their own kinds. Then also they can continue practicing.
Journey continues. Supriya ji, here, as Sonali has just said, talking about the girls, the young girls, the very, very young girls as they start training and then moving towards adolescent and adulthood as well. Now, according to you, what do you think can be achieved with such kind of a sport, which is exclusively and only women's sport? What we gain out of it? Because we're talking about, women and sports, and then this is a sport which is just for women. So, what do you think one can gain to such exclusive sports?
I think you need to ask her to unmute.
Yeah, I think you have to unmute it. Yeah.
So women in sports has developed into both amateur levels and professional levels in various places internationally and at domestic level. Uh, but I think in the in earlier era, the women contribution was much less, and in the mid to latter part of 20th century, female participation in sports has and the popularization of their involvement increased a lot. That is what I feel, particularly during last 10 15 years their contribution has remarkably grown. And I feel girls and women who play sports have higher level of confidence, self-esteem than most of the time, because we are managing home, work, and it's like sports and house, everything. Sometimes we as a women go through some depression, so of course with sports they overcome with such kind of depression also. So a positive body image is what been gained who are contributing in sports, the female players, and they experience higher state of psychological well-being, and I think she mentioned lot of attributes what is gained out of say rhythmic gymnastic, which is a totally female oriented sport. So as she mentioned that yes, flexibility, health, then lean, and then agility, quick reflexes. Most important related to this rhythmic gymnastic, what I like from Sonali ji today is like dancing with music or working with music. See, as such, everyone is like we all have that small passion. Maybe it is within the bathroom or within the room, but we all have very much passion about music. But understanding music and aligning to that music bits and making something creative out of it is really a big learnings out of such kind of sports that I feel. And of course fitness, that is all everyone is looking for. Maybe that gives you insight, maybe whenever you are in that sports as your career, but for a longer duration, like women is going through many physiological changes also, because we are giving birth to our child. So this, like these pregnancy and these things we have to face as a women. But I think with such learning fitness, how balancing maybe with related to our body, but that gives us insight to balance our work and life too. That is also one learning I can say that we are gaining. So totality, it's this fantastic game, and we have seen pictures also last time. So it is very amazing since it's like we all love everything. So music and dance and sports. So it's a well combination of all three verticals. I think so.
Yeah, and I think as Sonali also mentioned, it's like ambidextrous, to use both your sides, both your hands to be able to. But I also feel some points, Sonali, you may agree with me. Women seem to be more multitasking. And I think this game, which has so many
Yes.
things to it, it kind of,
They
probably comes a little easily to them. I don't know.
the 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 skills God has given us are very, very useful in this game.
Dashta Bhuja.
Those natural skills which women are born with are
Hmm.
enhanced because they practice rhythmic gymnastics, like
Correct.
multitasking, time management. Even if they were not rhythmic gymnasts, they would yet be doing it. But the
Yes.
rhythmic
Yes.
gymnasts do it even better,
Yeah.
absolutely
True.
even better. And in here I would like to put in a very personal experience. Both my kids I put into into gymnastics. Then my
Okay.
daughter shifted to rhythmic gymnastics, and
Hmm.
today they are married. My daughter has a child, but believe
Hmm.
you, she is one rhythmic gymnast who will want to put. Unfortunately, she has a son. She says if it was a daughter, she would make that daughter again a rhythmic gymnast,
Okay.
because she's in every walk of life. she has faced that advantage boldly in her face.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
walking down, I said you will see a group of girls and you'll identify she is part of her personal experience. You can
Okay.
immediately, she used to be in college, she used to be identified. You play some sport, and it is not one of those usual sports. That was what was always identified on her body. And
Correct.
even my son was a gymnast, same thing. In school,
Hmm.
right from school days, they were always appreciated because of their fitness. And that self esteem, which has really gone to the moon for them, has helped them in every walk of life even today.
Hmm.
That is why I would want every girl, if possible, to definitely at least part of her young youth years participate in rhythmic gymnastic learning.
True. We're coming close to the end of our program, but I must ask this question. What
Yeah.
changes do you expect in the next few years? Because we have had European players and then Asian players as well, or performers rather, I would say. So do you
Yes.
see a difference? Do you see which region going ahead, or which set of people doing better in comparison to each other?
Okay, like when I mentioned the history, the original game was introduced by the Russian countries, all
Hmm.
those who are like Belarus and Bulgaria, and
True,
of
true.
course Russia of today. And it was completely dominated by them and their style. What was their
Hmm.
style? Ballet. So
Hmm.
eventually, at every Olympics, the committee realized that this has become completely monotonous, and there's a
Hmm.
high chance that we will lose our loving audience. Rhythmic
Okay.
gymnastics was the most one of the most popular games in the Olympics from the audience point of view, always
Hmm.
going houseful. So when this
Okay.
monotony started setting in, that is when the technical committee and the FIG officials broke their head over it. And since that time till to date, they are continuously making the effort to incorporate all the styles from all across the world. So today
Hmm.
you will see, in fact, that's I think one of the major reasons why this time's Tokyo Olympics had a different winner.
Hmm.
It was
Hmm.
Lenoi Ashram from Israel.
Hmm.
She
Hmm.
comes with a different sense of musicality, with a different sense of dance. She brings with her something different from her background, which is coming from Israel, which is coming from a country very much torn apart, but coming up and managing to be on that platform, fighting with the rest of the well performing girls, and then she is winning, itself shows somewhere down the line FIG has succeeded to
True.
incorporate many types of and break the monotony, basically to break the monotony. So
True.
today we will, in fact, recently many Indian participants going abroad for their competitions have been appreciated very much for their choreographic creativity, for their
Hmm.
choice of music. In fact, you will see even other games based, like I think figure skating and diving, the artistic swimming, they have started some years back itself using Bollywood music.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
this incorporation was not happening in rhythmic. Other games had
Hmm.
picked it up earlier, but today you
Hmm.
can see it happening even now. Very often, other coaches at international events ask us to lend us their our music. Why? Because
Okay.
they want that. Yes, they want that. That is the development. That is the latest development happening within the game.
That's quite thoughtful of the FIG as well, and as I said, it is quite in sync with the times as well.
Yes, yes, very
Think
much.
about it.
To
So
make the
it
world
has been,
one big happy place to live in.
yes, absolutely. And what better than the sports that we're talking
Yes,
about?
of course.
So this has been a fantastic session with Sonali Sawant today on rhythmic gymnastics. And uh, Supriya ji, you would agree with me that we have gained so much, in the course of our discussion. And at the same time, the kind of inputs and the insight that Sonali has given are very, very precious. So for the audience, thank you
Absolutely.
once again for joining in. And we will see you next Saturday in the world of sports with yet another wonderful, wonderful, stunning woman telling us about a new sport. Till then, take care. See you.
Thank you. Love to all of y'all. And rhythmic gymnastics sends your love.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay,